All right, welcome everybody to a special edition of the Fan Cave. Today I'm going to be talking with Brian, and we're going to be talking about Halloween, scary movies, and stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. So hope you guys have some fun with it. If you guys have any scary movies or anything that you guys like, make sure you guys do comment below and let me know what you guys think. Also, feel free to share this video with all your friends. Let them know about the Fan Cave. I'd love to hear what people have to say. I have had some people already contact me who would like to be on the show, so I'm going to work it out with those people. But in the meantime, happy Halloween, everybody.
Woo-hoo!
I'm representing. I got my Not Scary Farm. Happy Halloween.
And
Floyd, I see you've got your Great Pumpkin Believer.
Yep. Don't stop believing,
Nice.
Charlie Brown.
That's right. Don't stop believing.
Exactly. You know what? I got to tell you, for pop culture, the Cracker Barrel is becoming quite the place to buy stuff.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever been in a Cracker Barrel.
Well, when you come out here, we're going to fix that. We're also getting your ass to a Waffle House.
Yeah, I've been to a Waffle House.
Okay, then thank you. We don't have to go again.
No, but we can go. We can go there. I'm fine with that.
Oh, I'm going to take you some good barbecue though.
Okay.
Oh.
I think when I was in Memphis, I went to Corky's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good place.
Yeah, Memphis has some
back
very
ribs.
good barbecue.
Yeah,
Very good barbecue.
nice.
Okay, let's that's another episode of the Fan Cave where to get good
That's
barbecue.
another one. All right, so happy Halloween, everybody.
Woo-hoo!
We're gonna go through a list of movies. Now, Brian, I know that you posted this list in the past on your website.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell people about the list and what's going on here?
So I created a list of scary movies. And by the way, Mike, it's really funny. I associate you with scary movies throughout my life because
We've seen a lot.
I was absolutely afraid as a little kid to watch horror movies. And I think my parents really messed me up. But I remember the one night that we went up to Vaughn's Video and we got Friday the 13th, 1, 2, I'd already seen 3, 4, the final chapter, allegedly, and then A New Beginning. And we started at 8 p.m. and ended somewhere around dawn.
Yeah. And
that was a lot of fun. And then I know that we were very into Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
I love those movies.
Yeah. And so I dressed up as Jason, you dressed up as Freddy. I don't think we ever dressed up at the same time as those.
Probably not.
Yeah. And then you had a Michael Myers mask.
I did. I'd have to thank Tony for losing that. That was Tony didn't have a costume for many years ago. We were at the when I used to work at the Upland Rodeo. We had a Halloween thing, and Tony was like, "I don't have any mask." I said, "Here, use my Michael Myers mask." So he wore it that night, and he never came home with it. So
he came home with it. He just never returned it to you.
Yeah, it's possible. I never saw it again.
It's in his fan cave right now.
Yeah, I never saw it again. So.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, on Netflix they have that the movies that made us.
Yes,
and they did a bunch of horror movies, and so
they did. I have not watched those yet. Have you watched them?
I watched the Halloween one the other night.
Okay,
and it was really good. But there's a story about how the mask came to be.
Okay,
that I think you really enjoy.
Oh, is that the William Shatner?
Yes, but they modified it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm not going to tell because it was really cool to watch. But it's really it was the coolest story. It's about a bunch of people who really got the opportunity to go make a movie. Yeah. And it was, for a lot of people, it was on the job training, and actors are painting sets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And their little movie, they got made for $300,000 in the 3 years that it was out because they kept getting re-released before video.
Sure.
So they got re-released every Halloween for 3 years. So $300,000 movie made $70 million at the American box office. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
It might have been international too, but I was just yeah. And so that spawned all these other horror movies.
Nice.
That's where the 80s slasher movies come out of, and spawned its own horror movie. So going back to the list. So some years, I guess it was about 3 years ago, I asked my readers, what are your favorite horror movies? And I had my own. And so I created a top 10 list of horror movies, and it's on my website, briandavidfloyd.com. And every year I update it, or try to update it. It hasn't really been updated. So So 10 scary movies for Halloween. Now, the first one is a film from 1959, which I have not seen, and it is called The Tingler, starring Vincent Price. And my buddy Mark Trost says it is great. Now, here's the funny thing is they were experimenting with movies back in the time. So they were trying to give a total audience experience. So they were splashing people with stuff and doing weird stuff
like
in the
4D experience.
Yeah, and so they were doing that in 1959 to try to compete with television. So, but
Nice.
I understand it's just a trippy movie. I haven't watched it. So next on the list is a movie from 1960, which is absolutely a classic horror movie, and it's probably much more of a thriller, and that's Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock.
One of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and by the way, so a few years ago, I got to go see it in the ArcLight, where we used to go to see the old movies when they show them.
Yeah.
And even though it's black and white, and even though it's not widescreen yet, there's something very eerie about that movie blown up like that. And especially the final scenes with him and his inner monologue. Yeah, it's just, thinking about it now is just trippy.
Yeah, I just recently, I know this isn't on your list, but the girls and we just watched Jaws.
Oh, Jaws is great.
And it was, I think the same thing kind of goes with Psycho is it's more of, I think it's more scary to not see what's going on and let your mind wander as to what's really going on, because it wasn't so much seeing the shark that was scary or seeing Norman Bates's mother that was scary. It was what's really going on, like that anticipation of something about to happen, you know? And I think that's where the slasher movies changed everything. And in a way, now these movies like The Conjuring and Insidious and all these are kind of changing again how we look at scary movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Jaws is like a serious movie that's scary,
right?
And I think like Aliens like that.
Yeah,
Aliens like a sci-fi movie, but like, oh hey, you know.
Yeah, it's a horror movie. It's scary.
Yeah, that scared the heck out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
So going back to the list here, that brings us to another movie that I think is a serious movie, but is a scary movie, and that is 1973, The Exorcist.
Gives me it's such a disturbing movie.
Well, yeah, and it all has, well, here's the thing: it's disturbing, but if you have religious beliefs of any kind, and it's really weird, especially when you realize that he was basing the book on some stuff he had researched and some other things. So what's interesting though is that I guess the team that is doing the Halloween sequels that cut out all the other movies that came after Halloween just got a deal to do 3 Exorcist sequels and bring Linda Blair back and pretty much everybody else. And like,
crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready for that even yet.
I don't know. I know I had seen The Exorcist when I was younger, and then they re-released it a few years ago in theaters with like some new footage and like a revisited, and it was like every time I see that movie, I get like this creepy. I don't even know creepy. Like a
dude, the hair is on the back of my neck is standing up right now just as we talk about it. It's like, yeah, I had a DVD. Someone gave me a DVD. Actually, I think it was Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson gave me some DVDs for Christmas one year. One of them was The Exorcist. I never took it out of its package. I felt like I shouldn't own it. And then when I moved, that one went in the giveaway pile. I'm like, I have no desire to have that in my house.
Yeah,
it's like, get out. You're inviting something in,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Well, guess we're going. See you later.
What's up, baby? I guess it's a great house. Too bad we can't stay.
Yeah. Too bad we can't stay, baby.
Yeah.
What was the next one?
So the next one is a movie I haven't seen, and I can't exactly tell you why I haven't seen it, but Toby Hopper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The 74 version?
Yes, the 1974 version.
Yeah, that's another. I think that was probably the start of the slasher, like, just kind of gross and, and very visual. That wasn't one of those like they're gonna let your mind think. It was. I remember it being pretty gruesome.
Yeah, so I didn't see it. I think it was one of those things that, like, as a kid, like your parents said something like that's not something you're supposed to be watching,
Right.
and I think at the time because of the violence, which today would be like what's on television. Watch
Yeah.
an episode
Right.
of what's the show on Netflix?
Walking Dead.
No, Netflix.
Oh.
Ozark.
Oh,
Ozark.
okay.
Yeah, you probably get more blood in a good episode of Ozark than you will in one of these movies back then.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was, and so I think he got an
Right.
X rating in some places.
Yeah.
And so that was like, and then they put that tagline in there. This is, based on a true story, of which I guess it was like one line out of a newspaper story that they used to market the movie. Nothing to do. Right. So there was something that like turned me off about that. So, but next on the list, and this is really where the slasher stuff takes off, is a movie in 1978, directed by John Carpenter from a script written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill called Halloween, the night that he came home. And I watched that a few nights ago, the original, and I've seen it several times. And Donald Pleasance is absolutely great. But so getting to the last scenes. And it's the lights are off and it's dark and I'm in and the music's good. And Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie goes across the street to find out why no one's answering the phone. And Brad Glifford texted me. And I jumped off the couch. And I'm like, all right, if a movie that's 40 plus years old can still scare me like that, that's a good movie.
Sure, absolutely.
But I jumped off the couch. I've been like, dude, I can't believe you just texted me right now. He has no idea.
Yeah, he doesn't know you're watching that.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, that's funny. But whoa, that freaked me out. Because I'm all in and then
yeah. No, that was a good movie too. I just recently watched that a couple of years ago. Leanne had never seen it.
Oh, okay.
So we sat there and watched it, and I remember sitting there going, man, I need to watch this again. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's one of those where like I think when I was younger, I didn't like it because it wasn't as gory enough. But it's psychologically, so it's it's between the slasher and it's between the psychological thriller, and just some guy creeping around town is the mask. The mask is perfect, and all this, and there's very little blood actually. Right. There's very little blood. But so random trivia, I did not know this. I knew half of it. I didn't know all of it. Do you know who Jamie Lee Curtis's parents are?
Yeah, Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh.
Yeah, Janet Leigh from Psycho. I'm like, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
So I knew the Tony Curtis part. I didn't know who the mom was. I'm like, she's perfect for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then, but yeah, so that's on there. And then that brings us up to the next one, which actually is a complete ripoff of Halloween, but became its own thing, was Friday the 13th. And I would say that when you look at Halloween and Friday the 13th, the original one, those you don't see as much. I mean, there's more blood in Friday the 13th than Halloween, but until that very last bit, you really don't know what's going on with the killer. And that is a great twist. And then the in the boat at the very end, that is a great twist that then kept the franchise alive.
Yeah. All I remember in the Friday the 13th movies in my mind was if they were screwing on the screen, you can pretty much guarantee those people are about to die somewhere very quickly. Like you are not allowed to have sex and have fun in those movies.
No. So by the way, I was thinking about this because it's Halloween and I'm watching all these movies. But I was thinking, and maybe it was the new Halloween Kills that got me thinking about it because they brought back, they brought back Tommy Doyle, the little boy that Laura was babysitting, and Lindsay from across the street, and even the nurse that was driving around with Dr. Loomis. And crazy enough, the kid Lonnie, who is teasing Tommy and then tries to go up, they dare him to go up to the door of the Myers house, and he's about to go up. And then Dr. Loomis says from this, Lonnie, get your ass away from there. He runs off. They bring Lonnie in. And I was like, and so that's why I was telling you, I had to go back and watch it again because like all of a sudden that made sense. But I was thinking like, well, how could they do that with a reboot of Friday the 13th. And I thought, what if you brought back the counselors that went to have a tryst and Jason died, and they're the only ones who can stop Jason, and they're the ones that all started. I mean, and they'd be like 50s, 60s now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's one thing they never revisited, the counselors who weren't doing their job.
Right. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. So I don't know. But yeah, Friday the 13th is one of those, I think it went adrift just like Halloween. I'd love to see it come back, but I don't know if it can.
Yeah.
So, and then the next one is probably the one that was the eeriest, as teenagers, because he could show up in your dreams. Mm-hmm. And he did, the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm. Those Nightmare on Elm Street movies, I loved the Friday the 13th movies. I mean, I probably spent more time watching those, even with you, like those movies, but Nightmare on Elm Street movies to me are those scary that I was obsessed with the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I remember
when those.
You had the glove. Didn't you make a glove?
Yeah, I did make a glove. I ended up getting a replica, better one, that I have now. But
no one watching this show is shocked at all.
Yeah, I have some replica stuff in here. It's kind of mixed in, but yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies were fantastic. I love those movies.
Yeah, they're good, and that's like when they remade it. I can't go watch the remakes. The first one is done so well. I mean, even as cheesy as it is, and introducing Johnny Depp, which is crazy to think that's his first movie.
Yeah.
So I guess it was about 2 years ago. They did a 35th anniversary screening at what was the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Uh-huh.
And so the special guest after the show was Heather Langenkamp.
Sure.
And I can't remember the actress's name, but she played Lisa, the first girl who got killed.
Oh, the one who died on the roof?
Yeah. And that they blamed the boyfriend for. And so they came in there talking, and they were like, yeah, we're just out of high school. And Wes was like, go over here. Like, yeah. And they said, when we filmed the Boiler Room, like, that place was really scary.
Yeah. Those are scary movies. And I think that was my first, like, all right, I can get on board with what they're trying to do here. Because I remember even watching those with you when we would go see them when they would come out, like you were invested in that storyline to find out, what was happening with the nun, even, further down, like what was happening with the nuns, where did he come from? Who was he before all this? I mean, I was invested. Those movies invested.
Well, and as far as movie bizarre immortal serial killers go, Freddy Krueger had a lot more personality over Michael and Jason and everybody else.
And maybe that's what it was. Is he was a scary guy with a personality.
Yeah, it was so bizarre, and it's. Yeah, have you ever had a dream of Freddy Krueger chasing you?
No.
Okay, I've had like two.
Well, if I did, I don't remember.
I've had like 2 or 3.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like in the movies. Yeah. And so the funniest one I ever had, though, I think I was in the 9th grade. And so the Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, was about to come out. And
I loved that one.
Yeah. And so Freddy was chasing me, and I got cornered somewhere. And then I was like, Freddy, you're not going to survive. I'm like totally talking trash to Freddy Krueger, which is great, You're not going to survive.
How did that work out for you?
Yeah, well, he talked to me like only Freddy would talk to you, right?
Yeah.
And so because I remember I had been reading. So the movie wasn't out yet, but I've been reading like Fangoria magazine about the movie and bringing Heather Langenkamp back and all this stuff. And so I'm like, we're going to team up and we're going to beat you and we're going to be the Dream Warriors and you don't have a chance and you're done. And he's like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. If you're going to win, how come they're already going to do a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4? I'm like, and I woke up.
You're all, good point. I'm out of here.
And then the other one I was running in a stairwell up these stairs to try to get away from him. And the stairs never end. So you just keep running. And running, and he's like, and you hear the nails. And I'm like, I'm getting the chills right now.
Yeah.
So you've never had those dreams?
Not that I can remember.
Well, hopefully I
I
just
mean,
planted one in
I'm
you.
sure I did, but I mean, because I was into it like when
Yeah.
they were out. So I mean, I'm sure I did, but I don't remember any of them.
Yeah. But that first one is so spooky.
Yeah,
I mean, and just him in the alley and the arms. And I mean, oof, yeah. But
yeah,
yeah, Robert Englund did a great job as Freddy
he
Krueger.
sure did.
So then, this is another movie I haven't seen that's on the list. It's called Chopping Mall.
I haven't seen that one.
And so
I never even heard of that
yeah,
one.
so this came from one of my readers, Andrew Hall, and he recommended it. And it was released as Killbots. And IMDb provides the following synopsis.
Oh boy.
A group of young shopping mall employees stay behind for a late night party in one of the stores. When the mall goes into lockdown before they can get out, the robot security system malfunctions and goes on a killing spree.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it was filmed in the Sherman Oaks Galleria where Fast Times and Commando were also filmed.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So, yeah, if I'm going to excise one from the list, it might be that one. But I've had a couple people say, "Oh, I'm so glad you included it." I'm like, okay, every movie has a fan somewhere, right?
Sure.
So, and then, oh God, speaking of every movie has a fan, do you remember that riff tracks we went to?
Yeah.
What was that?
At the gallery at Tyler?
Yeah, it was like the worst movie ever made. Is that horror movie? Manos.
Yeah.
Manos, The Hands of Fate.
The Hands of Fate.
Manos. What?
Yeah.
Okay. That was brutal, dude.
Yeah, it was. But those were fun. Mystery Science Theater, I loved watching those things. They're funny.
I guess they just did a riff tracks this week on one of the later Amityville movies.
Oh, they actually have a riff tracks of Indiana Jones and the Star Wars movies as well.
Ooh.
In there somewhere, from what I understand. I haven't seen them yet.
I don't know if I need that.
I'm afraid to watch a riff tracks on those because those movies are so dear. You know.
Well, not only that, it'll stick in your head every time you see it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I refuse to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, next on my list is a movie from 1988. Actually, it's probably the first horror movie I was ever able to drive myself and a date to.
Huh?
At the Edwards Corona 11 Cinemas, located at 351 West Rincon.
Yeah.
Off of Main Street, just north of the 91 freeway.
So 88, that was before I think I worked there.
Yeah. So you probably came to work so it was, just
yeah,
that.
I think I was there like 89. When did Back to the Future
89
come out?
November 89.
Yeah, so
and then I
was there 89.
And then I didn't start till May or June of 1990.
Yeah.
But they still took our money.
Yeah.
So
what was that movie?
Child's Play.
Child's Play.
The first Child's Play is pretty creepy. I actually remember taking Lisa Koski to go see that, but then you and I went and saw it like next week. I'm like, hey, dude, we got to go see this movie.
Yeah. I like the Child's Play movie. I didn't see the most recent remake. I didn't see that.
Nah, I hear it's
there's
a
Netflix series out, I think, right now, Child's Play, that they just did. I probably won't watch any of that, but I remember liking the first, I think, 2.
The first one was really good. I can't remember the second one, but I know I watched it, and then it got like weird, Bride of Chucky and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but that first one about this guy putting his evil spirit in the doll, and then he needs to take possession of the boy, or he's gonna And that was good stuff, man. That was a trip. So then move forward all the way to the year 1996. Wes Craven once again in a movie called Scream.
Yeah. That was a good movie. I like that movie.
Well, I loved it. Then that opening scene where Drew Barrymore is on the phone, that alone just freaks you out.
Yeah. The sad thing for me is a few years later they did the Scary Movie movies.
Yeah.
Where they were like I've seen those more than I have the original movies.
Oh boy.
So in my mind, I keep thinking of scenes of Scary Movie instead of Scream. So I don't really remember, because I was about to tell you about a scene about the guy who but I'm like, no, that's not.
But I don't remember that part.
Scary. That's Scary Movie.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I went back, and I think because like 3 of them were on Netflix a few years ago. So I watched the first 3. again. And the first and the second really hold up. The third's good, but it's not bad, but it's not to that caliber. And then they came back with that fourth one, and that fourth one blew my mind. And I was like, because I didn't think they could do it again. And then they got another one coming out. I'm not sure they can do it again, but
yeah, that's what I heard. They're doing another one.
Hello, Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah, no, those are really good. And I guess the funny thing is that you got Jamie Kennedy's character in there telling you how horror movies work. Mm-hmm. And then like, all right, this is sequels. This is, and he all right, I probably didn't live through the first one, so if so, here's my video. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, those were good. And yeah, I kind of want to watch them again now that we're talking about it. All right, so
I'd like to see this again.
Next on the list is a bizarre movie that, and I think this is when horror was getting really gory again. This 2004 movie called Saw. And Saw is just a mental trip, but that very end scene, that twist at the end with Jigsaw, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Those are good movies. I liked those. But they weren't enough to where I could watch them over and over again. I think I saw them when they came out, and that was it. But I couldn't really even. I remember a couple of key scenes, but I don't remember too much of those movies.
Yeah, that first one is really good, and they intersperse it with what the killer's doing, and with Danny Glover and the cops chasing him, and but it was. Everybody was like paying for their sins, and there was a way out, but you had to do something absolutely horrible to yourself to get out. And it's like the barbed wire, and yeah, it was just that was some bizarre stuff. So I think I watched up to 3 or 4, and then I was like, I don't know if I did.
Yeah, I think out of that whole series, there was one situation where the girl had to put her head in something. And there were a bunch of needles or something, like hypodermic needles.
Yeah, because she was a drug addict. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was very squirmy watching that one.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That was kind of like, and they're not on the list because they were one and done for me. The Hostel movies. And I think I saw Hostel 2 with you. I know I saw Hostel 1 with Tony. And it was at an advanced screening, and Eli Roth came in before and was like standing up front during the last 10 minutes watching people squirm, and he's like all giddy. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was a disturbing movie.
Yeah, that first one was really, and then the second one, it was too, but the first one just bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah. Makes you not want to travel.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and then the last on the list is a movie I haven't seen, but pretty much is responsible for the return of horror movies from, I think his name is Jason Blum, and that is Paranormal Activity.
Great movie.
You scared me with what you said.
It was phenomenal. Like I was telling you before, I went opening night, and I went to the midnight screening, and I remember. And I went by myself, and at the time I lived in a little apartment in Redlands. And after that movie, it was a very uncomfortable night walking into my empty apartment because I had 2 stories. Yeah. It was a very uncomfortable night, but that's how I know that I loved it. That it was just great because just some of the visual things that were happening were phenomenal. I mean, it was a great movie. So
I'll check it out. No, I'll check it out because it really launched low budget horror movies back into the mainstream.
Yeah,
as they should be. And then you said I should add a movie to the list recently.
The Conjuring.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
I know, but the whole franchise is fantastic.
Okay, I think I kind of just got done with horror after a certain time, and maybe and so I do notice that I go back and I revisit like the stuff from growing up more so than checking out the new stuff. But I know this new stuff is freaky.
Yeah, The Conjuring, like I saw that in a movie theater the first time, and I remember there were some scenes in there, and I won't give anything away, but I was literally like, I don't even know if I can watch. Like, I don't even know if I can, because this is
Yeah,
intense of what was going on.
you're not selling it to me, dude.
But it was good. It was very, very good.
Okay, well that's the list, and I'll share it with you, and you can share it on your social media stuff and
Nice.
include it on there. But that's the list. I'll probably put the Conjuring on there. I don't know if I'm going to cut any out because, like I said, every one of these movies is special to someone.
Right.
And you know what's weird? If I were to cut one out, it might be Child's Play.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a horror. I mean, it is a horror movie, but I don't know. It's not on the same.
Yeah, it's not on the same level as The Tingler. Absolutely.
Yeah, or Chop Mall or whatever.
Chopping Mall.
Chopping Mall.
Yeah. But you know, I got to tell you, what I have enjoyed are these horror comedies like Zombieland.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah, I love those.
Oh, they absolutely hysterical, especially with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
And so I've enjoyed those. And sometimes they do it wrong, but like Zombieland, those two Zombielands are like perfect.
Yeah, there was one that I just watched the other day. Excuse me, I'm gonna try looking it up, but it was with Kylo Ren guy. And
I love that he's the Star Wars.
Adam Driver.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that he's the Star Wars character's name.
Yeah, Adam Driver. It was. Let me see here. It was a weird movie, but it was a good like The Dead Don't Die.
Dead Don't Die. Okay.
And it's a comedy zombie type movie. It's one of those ones like, throughout the movie, he keeps saying, this isn't going to end well. Like, he says it often, throughout the movie. Right. And it's funny, but it's a good zombie movie.
Okay. Did you see Shaun of the Dead?
I have not seen Shaun of the Dead.
That is hysterical. And it's set in Britain.
I need to watch that.
It is. And it's, actually, Zombieland owes itself to them because they kind of said. So the thing that cracks me up is that, so whatever happens out there, everyone gets zombified. So it doesn't affect Simon Pegg and his roommate. But they're out partying so much the night before that when he goes to the store to get orange juice, he's like, So the zombies don't even notice him. And he's all hung over, so he doesn't notice everyone's zombified, but the zombies don't notice him. Like, And then he's like, wait, something's not right. Yeah. I love the fact
I need to see that
he's hung over, and that's how the zombies didn't go after him, because they thought he was a zombie.
Nice.
Yeah. And, so it's actually a zombie comedy romance.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. And then Zombieland was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, those are good. I like those.
So, well, I thought we were going to do a short episode, but it looks like we turned into a full episode.
Floyd, that's a great list. And where can they find it again?
It's on my website, briandavidfloyd.com.
Okay.
And it's under 10, what's it called? 10 something. 10 scary movies for your Halloween.
10 scary movies for your Halloween. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll send you a link, and you can put that on the YouTube channel if you want to send people there. And awesome. I appreciate it. But the funny thing is, we could probably do 100 scary movies, because I feel like we haven't even talked about Universal monster movies.
Oh, yeah.
Those are classics. And I know, if I remember rightly, in kindergarten, you had a big Dracula fetish.
Yeah, I still like vampires. Yeah. Still a big thing. So, yeah. So I think the good thing about this is, some of these movies we can maybe go in another episode. We can go in depth more on a few things.
Well, I would definitely like to talk more about the Halloween movies.
Yeah. I need to check out the last one, and then we can talk about it. Nice.
Yeah. And then, but is this a spoiler free show for the most part?
No.
Okay.
Unless I haven't seen it.
Okay.
then I don't want to talk about spoilers.
So screw the audience.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, to be honest with you, it takes me a while to see a movie sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I am a couple weeks behind, and I figure I'm a good gauge on when things happen. So if I've seen it, then that gives everybody else a much more realistic time frame.
So I saw Halloween Kills twice. I saw it on opening night with a full house, which was pretty awesome to see a full house again. But there was a lot of chatter around, so I didn't fully, because I'm doing everything I can to not say STFU. Sure. And then so I went back last evening in an empty house, and I sat like up front and I watched it, and I kind of got creeped out.
Yeah,
and I'd already seen it. That
means they're doing their job.
Well, the music's there again, but they did some other things with those very familiar. They did some things with it, and it was just like, oh, this is getting even creepier.
All right. Well, the next couple of days, I'm going to watch it. All right. Yeah. Floyd, thank you for the Fan Cave. I appreciate it. This is going to be a special Halloween episode. We'll have it on Halloween, so I'll probably post it Saturday night, and then we can everybody can watch it on Sunday.
Well, have a happy Halloween. Happy. I work for K-Frog now. Have a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween too.
Happy Halloween, and eat all your kids' candy because they don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey man, you got 3 of them. Like if they're not out, this is about daddy needs to eat some chocolate.
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
And what sucks is around my neighborhood, nobody does trick or treating, so we got to go out to my sister-in-law's, and they do pretty good out there, though.
Yeah, don't smash any pumpkins, though.
No smashing pumpkins.
It's not gonna turn out well.
No. Floyd, happy Halloween. Thank you. All right. Peace.